Hey everybody, a late live stream. I want to cut right to the chase. Very impressed with the work that John Gruden has done with Nathan Peterman. He's obviously made Peterman, who start off as the laughing stock. Let's be honest, a project, and in preseason, he's paying off big dividends. He was 23 of 37 for 210 yards and two touchdowns and most no interceptions. And then the game is on right here. And this is the first game to me that Peterman looked like a field general, where he, well, the second game he looked like a field general, but he is grasping what Gruden wants to do. But the real aspect, the real fact that's unfolding for me in watching this game is that Peterman didn't have the benefit of being taught a precision ball control passing offense. And he's running that here with the Raiders. Here's play action. He's back to throw. He takes a short look left and then tries to get one downfield to not Doss with 88, but incomplete. But the bottom line is what was impressive even about that play was he looked to his primary was short and then deep, and his footwork matched where he wanted to go. So his Nathan Peterman's improvement as a technician, as a passer, as a quarterback technician has been incredible. And whether or not this leads to him doing something like beating out Derek Carr, I think is not even the conversation. Nathan Peterman is building into a good quarterback for some team. The question is, when will he get a shot with a team that runs a system like the Raiders? And what team is there that does that? Well, I think about the Broncos under Vic Fangio, right? That's one. And the list of organizations that do it has changed, but they're out there. Of course, there's the 49ers. And with the way Jimmy Garoppolo was playing, you've got to wonder if Nathan Peterman could one day, perhaps sooner or later, make the jump across the bay and join the 49ers, right? I could see that. I think it's about time to call it. Nathan Peterman is not the Nathan Peterman we're used to. This is a new Nathan Peterman. This is a poised, polished pocket passer. Poised, polished pocket passer. 4 Ps. Quite impressive and quite nice to see. Overall, the game, I look at it this way. Look, football is football. Yeah, okay, maybe they didn't have the kickoff, so you couldn't evaluate special teams. But you were able to evaluate many other aspects of your team. And I have to say one thing. The Packers and the Raiders, both in terms of scheme and personnel, are very much evenly matched. And so I came away as impressed with what I saw with respect to the Packers as I did with respect to the Nathan Peterman and the Raiders. And if the Packers are quick off the ball, they're efficient in their movements, they are quick on defense, okay? Quick on defense. They use their spacing is such that they're able to create holes for their runners. And overall, the team plays good basic football. And you have to put this in the context of the fact that we haven't seen the Arizona Cardinals play good basic football yet, okay? They played non-basic football that wasn't good, right? But the Packers and the Raiders are two teams that play good basic football. The Miami Dolphins have an offense that needs to work on its precision. I'm disappointed in what Jim Caldwell put together for one reason that's really just bugging me. And what he did was he lined up in, or had his organization line up in a formation that features slot. The slot is where you have a split in here. This is a flanker, okay? Then you have the tackle, guard, center, guard, tackle, tight end, and then over here, flanker. So you have the split end. Generally, this is the wing or flanker, and then the halfback here. All right. Note that there's no tight end over here. That's just the guard and the tackle. Okay. So the Dolphins were playing the Jaguars, which had weak side linebacker here, two defensive backs, inside linebacker, defensive end, and tackle. All right. So you have the defensive end covering the tackle, the defensive tackle over the guard. You have the middle linebacker here, and you have the weak side linebacker here unblocked. Why? Because you just have the running back. So logically, you shouldn't hand off the running back in this direction, right? Well, guess what? That's exactly what they did. And the whole defense just converged and crushed him. And what that told me was, first of all, the Dolphins have no understanding of formation structure. What do I mean by that? Formation structure is where if you have your tight end on this side and you're facing a defense where they obviously have their weak side linebacker unblocked, you don't run in that direction. Okay? Unless you have some kind of way of making sure that you're able to influence the weak side linebacker out of the way, but you don't just run in that direction with all those numbers there and expect to pick up yardage. It's stupid. You run the other way where the tight end is, and you have a more head-on-head, or what they used to call putting it, a helmet on a helmet, tight end on backer, flanker on cornerback, right? Because you have it spread out wide, you've got two defensive backs over here, just the free, okay? And then the cornerback over here. So because the other defense, unless you have five defensive backs, you have to slide your safety over here, your strong safety, if you're going to play 7 in the box, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, okay? So if you think about that as a blanket, you're basically splitting up the safeties. So you don't have safety run support over here. This is the direction you should go. You don't go in the direction where you've got a couple of defensive backs, a linebacker, unblocked, outside, perfectly positioned to snuff your run. And then on top of that, you're zone blocking to that side, which means that if you zone block, you're giving the defensive line an opportunity to sort of run past. All right. It was ridiculous. Hey, Raider Gans, how you doing? Raider Gans says, I think Peterman kind of exposed Carr not using his legs like he used to. Notice how much more time Peterman gets versus sole pocket passing. It's not so much the time that I'm concerned with, because Peterman is not playing with the first team. And so he's playing with the second team. He's getting the second team offense. And he's playing a timed offensive system against talent that is still trying to figure things out, so they're not as decisive. The best way to stop a timed offense is to be decisive on defense. If you are learning, which means you're slow, right, you're not going to do that. So that gives Peterman an automatic advantage. So I don't look at it that way, Raider Gans. To repeat, Raider Gans says, I think Peterman kind of exposed Carr not using his legs like he used to. Notice how much more time Peterman gets versus sole pocket passing. I wouldn't do that to him. And oh my God, Terrell Johnson told me something I didn't know. He says Jim Caldwell is actually on a leave of absence, medical issues. Oh no, man! I really been a big Jim Caldwell fan, so thank you for telling me that. I didn't know that. big Jim Caldwell fan. So I was really disappointed what I saw, but now that explains everything. 'Cause I'm thinking, that's Jim Caldwell. I never saw that before. That explains everything. Red again says agree there, but I do think now we're switching back to the Peterman discussion. He says I do think it is somewhat correlates with Carr last season when Carr stayed in the pocket. He looked timed and rushed. Yeah, I'm going to Raider Gans. I hear what you're saying, and I'm going to just agree with you, but give you this, all right? Because I don't think you're saying anything I strongly disagree with. I see where you're going. I don't entirely agree with it, but I think I would say I'm 80%, which means I'm in the right. I'm in your church, but I'm in a different pew, right? So what I mean is that Peterman, the Raiders. Oh, okay. I want to see how all this fits together when they have a game plan. Because I've said this before, Raider Gans. I'm going to say it again, man. I am, yeah, Raider Gans says, but it is preseason, right? But I'm going to say this again, okay? I'm really concerned that this organization has not improved itself where it really hurt, and that was in play design, okay, and in-game adjustments. I mean, for as much as we have hopped on the Arizona Cardinals against the Raiders, the one thing that I saw in that game that I was very impressed with Cliff Kingsbury is his in-game adjustments. He didn't wait and say, "Well, you know what? We'll deal with this later because it's preseason." No, he fixed the issues during the game. Because forgotten in all of that was how well Brett Huntley did against the second team in that offense. Okay. So, but that came because Cliff was willing to get in there, just like Bill Belichick does. Remember the most famous example being Super Bowl 52, when Belichick re-engineered the Patriots on the fly, made adjustments on the fly, adjusted his game plan and calling, and they came back and won. Okay. So I think the the real test for the Raiders is going to be in the heat of the battle when maybe things don't quite work right. How do they adjust, or do they just simply call it a day? Because remember last year, save for two major events, everyone was really excited and oh, Brady's going to put this great product on the field, and of course, it didn't take long for the wheels to fall off. They fell off the first game against the Rams, and we know it was the game plan. Okay, once Gruden got out of the script where they scored first, fell apart. All right, is that why they brought in Johnny Morton? Is he a better play caller? Because I understand he called the game today. All right. So as Eric Gann says, especially the adjustment, we haven't had enough that since Hugh. No, not at all. Just getting in there and fixing and adjusting, right? So again, I'm really concerned about that. But having said that, I like the technician approach. And what I mean by that is you got a lot of plays. It's classic Bill Walsh. Like, for example, in Super Bowl 16, the 49ers went in there with 89 passes and 31 runs. Each one of those plays did something, okay? Our Raider Nation for Life says Derek's in his second year, so now he'll control the offense a lot better. Yeah, it's not the control I'm concerned about. It's the adjustment the team does, and that's not just Derek, but it really starts with John and the coaches who give Derek instructions and tell him what to do. Because I'm still struck with what Derek Carr said to me in my interview with him in 2015. I just do what they tell me to do. That's what he said. And that's something that fans seem to forget. The plays are drawn up by coaches today, not the players. It's not like the 70s when Ken Stabler could go to Joe Skomas and Jack London, get lit, drunk and everything and high and all that. And then on a Thursday, and then practice drunk, and then play a game on a hangover and throw 4 touchdowns. He's done that. Okay? But today, the NFL doesn't let a player get away with doing that. It would be fun to see someone try. It would be fun to see a team do that. It takes a team effort to let, literally, to allow that to happen. Raider Gann says Derek only has to stay healthy, but not be too conservative and play within the confines of scripted plays. Well, yeah, but here's the thing. It's the plays I'm concerned about. I remember the interceptions he threw against the Rams on passes that should not have been called. Okay. Now one could say, hey, he shouldn't have thrown it. It was his fault. But I contend that when you are behind, you need a series of quick defense beaters to get you the yardage you need. And then you put those back in your pocket and you go back to your standard offense and approach, okay? What I mean by that is, for example, plays that you don't normally use, rollouts, halfback passes, trick plays, something to keep the defense off balance and better assure the occurrence of the open receiver, right? Because the whole point is to get yourself back into a position where you can be competitive from a scoring perspective. That's what it's all about. It's about winning, right? Now, from that perspective, I didn't see John doing that, and I didn't see him. I saw the team. I saw him causing Derek to throw into the teeth of coverages during those games last year. Or if it wasn't that, I saw him calling plays like 7-step drops. We were using 7-step drops later in the year when our players are injured, when we're not getting that kind of time. And yet, against the Niners, on several occasions, Derek Carr was put in a position where he's running a 7-step drop and he gets sacked, he gets killed. And I thought, what are you doing? That is a 7-step drop. You don't need to do that. Okay? I mean, stupid stuff. It wasn't until the last game against the Broncos that the Raiders got their schematic offense act together. Just did, okay? So that's it. I wanted to make a comment because I'm going to hit the hay. This is going to be a short one. I'll be back tomorrow, but early. But I want to make a comment because this has been a busy week. I've been up early, took my mom to hospital for checkups and everything, and so I've been really preoccupied with those personal things. Okay, and yeah, so be back tomorrow. But as a result, my sleep has been weird. Early this morning and all that stuff. Okay, so I'll be back. Thanks, Raider Gans. Thanks for leading the conversation. And Las Vegas. I was going to say, Mark Davis did an interview with, I think it was News 5 or News 3, Las Vegas News 3, but he didn't mention the stadium. And also, there was another earthquake in Ridgemont, California, I believe it is, Ridgecrest, California, 5 on the Richter scale. And it was felt in Las Vegas. Okay. That happened yesterday. Did that have any impact on the stadium? I don't know. But as they say, this is becoming a thing, folks. Yikes. All right. We'll pick it up tomorrow, or I should say later today, because today is Friday. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you.